Welcome to the No Love Podcast, where we decrease tomorrow's divorce rate today by teaching singles and couples alike how to experience love on purpose and not by chance. I'm your host, Edward L. Fairley, accompanied by my wonderful, lovely co-host, Michelle Larkin. Michelle, say hi to the people.
What's up? You see us with our matching shirts, you see?
It was not even planned. We saw each other's faces in our shirts and we lit up.
Yes.
So, we had a bye week last week, well-needed week, God family business. But we are back this week. So, what you got going on, sis?
Oh wow! God be blessing. I'm closer to my launch for Queen's Moves. Doing a lot of work. Had a photo shoot. Drafted my new website. Looking forward to sharing more information. I'm looking to do a virtual hug for women during this turbulent time. I'm not even gonna say turbulent times, because one of the things is that, women perceive themselves to be the anchor and the caretaker. And when you're worried about everything outside of your house, it's hard to be the caretaker, because who's taking care of you? You're worried about everybody else. Guilty. But sometimes you just need a virtual hug and say, hey, we got you. It's gonna be all right. Let it out. Let's hug it out and move on. So I'm looking forward to hosting a virtual hug conversation for women, just to encourage, support, cheer on, and adjust our crowns and get back in the game.
Do you see the neck movement? Did y'all see the neck movement? For those who can see what we got going on, did y'all see her adjust the crown and move her neck accordingly? That's what's up.
Sometimes it be crooked. Put it back.
Anything else you got going on or you want to talk about before we move forward?
Knowing love is iterative. It is a process, and I find myself constantly moving forward, but never, it's not the same, right? So every time we have a conversation, I get new information. It doesn't mean that I don't love myself. It doesn't mean I don't love, but I feel like it's a journey that it keeps teaching over and over again. Every situation brings new information. It's like a back and forth. So I was all no loved out today. I was like, well, I have my beautiful lesson for the week, and I was like, yep, okay.
That's awesome. I've been getting a lot of testimonials like that, and they're so heartfelt and sincere, and it helps me continue to move. I can assure you, as a leader of a movement such as this, sometimes you get into it and feel like, is it really helping? Is anybody, does it even matter? Is anybody taking anything away? So when you get those random inboxes or text messages and things of that nature that say, yo, this is helping me, this is blessing me, it gives us the energy when we're thinking about, like, is it pointless, or is it really registering to anyone? So I really appreciate and definitely welcome the feedback that I'm getting, good, bad, or indifferent. I definitely welcome, because that's the only way that I can grow to better feed you all. And I'm just grateful, and I'm excited about this journey. Yeah, I'm just gonna put a period there, because I probably could sit in that and go further. And we have so much that we have to take care of today. So speaking of that, couple weeks ago, because we were off last week, and before I even get into that, as I stated a couple weeks ago, because we were off last week, we did not realize, Michelle and I did not realize, because on our ends, when I'm looking at my phone right now, we can see that we're having a dialogue. We can't hear, but we can see that we have a screen. So on our ends last week, we saw that everything was fine. But come to find out, it stopped at like the 37-minute mark, and we still saw everything. And what I need, I'm sharing that to share this. I need you all, if this goes down and you're on Facebook, inbox me so that her and I can know that it stopped. Because on our end, we could not see that we were not recording. And all of that last part of the previous show is gone. So from the 37-minute mark, and we went to like an hour and 15 minutes, the 37-minute mark from the previous show, that content is gone. So what I did was I saw where it stopped at the 37-minute mark. We had already covered 2 points. And before I go into that, please, again, if for some strange reason your internet or something freezes and you think it's just your internet, it may very well not be just your internet. It could be
live
Facebook.
Interactive.
It could be the live interaction. So please inbox me. It'll pop up. I'll be able to read it and know that, hey, things are not going right. So we can refresh it or do whatever we need to do so that this content is consistent and fluid for the entire session. With that being said, again, all of the last part of the previous show is gone, which is why I did not post or upload the actual recording of the podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast prior to listening to next week podcast, because I'm going to upload them both at the same time, I'm starting with just summarizing point 3, because at the 37-minute mark, it had point 1 and 2. But I didn't want to leave whoever's listening to it and they're not live. I didn't want to leave them hanging and wondering what happened. So if you're listening to it right now, just go to the previous show, which that show is going to be titled "Why You Must Be First," and you'll understand why point 3 is what I'm starting with. Just summarizing it. We're not going to go into a dialogue or anything of that nature. And then we'll go into our today's topic. Okay. So the first 2 points of the previous week, because we had a bye week, as I stated earlier, was why you must be first. The first was, why you must be first. You must be the first to listen was point 1. The second one was you need to be the first to speak. And then the last one was you need to be the first to do. And what that means is, and again, to get why you need to be the first to listen, why you need to be the first to speak, you would have to listen to the whole previous show, which again is titled "Why You Must Be First," to understand what this all means, get the context, because that's not today's show. But again, I'm going to post them both at the same time, and I don't want anybody to be left hanging. So the third point was to be the first to do, meaning to do or be the physical expression of love first, to give others permission to do the same and to assist in your belief that it can be done, which in turn will allow for you to be able or be a recipient of love when it's really being expressed toward you. This is the true context of faith without works is dead. I hear this passage of the Bible being shared so much out of context, but in actuality, faith without works basically means is if you are being or walking from love, your actions towards others will be the fruit of love. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that you earn your salvation through faith or anything of that nature, or that you're supposed to be putting in work that is going to cause what God has for you to come to pass. It literally means that if you are walking from love, and if your belief is love, then how you respond to people through love there'll be a fruit of that. You just telling them to be blessed or that God is going to bless them and you have the ability to bless them, that doesn't align with what you're claiming or saying. If God lives in you, if he dwells in you and love resides in you, then your expressions should express that. So that is the third and final point. I can't go into depth with that, but that is so that you can better conclude the previous show or if you started with the previous show, understand where it cut off and not be like, oh, he left us hanging. So this is because of a recording issue, which we're trying to prevent that from ever happening again. And I'm hoping that those who are watching now will inbox me if you ever see any issues with the actual interaction that we're having live, so that we'll know to adjust what it is that we're seeing. Because on our end, everything looked fine all the way to the end, and I was livid. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was upset. And Michelle was like, "I know you're upset because you called about it." Typically, I just let stuff go, but I could not find the content, and I'm like, "Yo, one thing about me, time is the most valuable thing in the world to me. So I don't like to waste my time. So for me to sit here and record, there's been times where we didn't do the recording because I'm like, no, if I know this is not going to record, or if I don't know that it's going to record, then I am not doing it. I don't care what you want to try, Michelle, with new software or whatever. We'll start next week. We're going to try first. But so let me get off of that soapbox. I appreciate you all in advance for letting us know if it stops recording, especially on this show. So let's go ahead and jump into today's subject and topic. So the title of today's topic and subject is foundation inspection. I'm gonna say that again. Foundation inspection. Now, for the last several weeks, as I converse with people, I felt the need to do the show because we have a human tendency to manipulate things to fit our agendas as human beings. And if we're going to be using what I'm teaching as that thing that we're manipulating, I'm going to make it clear through a recording as to what I mean when I explain certain things. So the foundation of the no love triangle is self-interest. Okay. And interestingly enough, some people, again, because we manipulate things to kind of fit our agendas, they are using or concluding that self-interest means selfishness. All right. So what I am going to be doing is defining and breaking down the difference between selfishness and self-interest so that we can understand with clarity as to what the foundation of the no love triangle is. Because the foundation that we build this whole love thing from is from the foundation of self-interest. Then we transition when we get into a relationship to selflessness. And then from selflessness, we go to self-evolution, and then we go right back to self-interest. And it just continues to go because each corner is connected. So it's a continuous cycle, like a circle. There's no break to it. It continuously grows, which in turn, the middle is the depth in the relationship, which Michelle is basically indirectly saying that she's going through the depth process as she goes through this whole no love process. She's noticing that there's depth to it. I have a wonderful young lady that I converse with very often named Tila, and we've had conversations where she states, well, I can't explain what it is. It feels like love, but I can't explain. I feel like it's more. And I'm like, no, it's love. You're just realizing that there's depths to it. There's levels to it. It's still the same thing, but you're just finding out there's more to it than you thought it was. And as you go on this journey, which is why this can continue forever. So when I say that, sometimes I feel like, well, is it worth it, or is it pointless? In all honesty, what I do know, again, going back to the human tendencies, is we typically want to be recipients of things that we want, but we don't want to put in the work necessary to be the recipient of what we want. And I'm very transparent when it comes to that truth. A lot of people just want the fruit of things without getting to the root of things or putting in the work to plant the seed and allowing the process to be the process so that they can reap the benefits or reap the harvest that comes with it, but there's work that comes with that. And a lot of people don't want the work. They just want to kind of mentally get it and think that it's all going to fall into place. And that's just not how it works. So when I say or get to the point where it's like, well, is it worth it? Because I know some people listen to this on the surface level and don't want to put in the work. And I'm okay with that because, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people that really want to get the results of what comes with this. So hopefully you can sit here because I truly believe if you continue to sit in a barbershop, eventually you're going to get a haircut. So I feel like if you continuously sit in no love, eventually it's going to go from head to heart, and you're going to take it seriously and put in the work to get the results that you're looking for. So if you keep coming here, eventually you probably will be who I'm talking to. But right now, if you're not interested in putting in the work, I'm really not talking to you. So with that being said, Michelle doesn't like when I talk like that, but I'm perfectly fine with it. I sleep well at night with being honest because I know that it takes work in order for you to reap the benefits of what you all or some people claim that they want to. So without us being transparent and honest about the process, we're not going to get any results done. So I'm not going to allow you to be in denial. I am going to put up mirrors, and this is going to be what we're talking about today. The foundation of the no love triangle, which is self-interest. But a lot of people are manipulating that to align with their agenda, which is selfishness, and they want to feel good about being selfish when that's not what we're talking about. So let's define the two. First, let's go with selfishness, because that is the more common route that we like to go. It feels comfortable and it makes us right when we're trying to be right. And selfishness basically is a benefit at the expense of others. Selfishness is a benefit at the expense of others. So how can we kind of put that into context? If you're what you call self-interest is something that is going to cause harm to somebody for you to receive it, and you say, well, that's just how I am, they're going to have to get over it, but in actuality, it hurts. It's harmful or hurtful to them. I'm not saying being honest and sometimes being honest or truthful is not going to hurt somebody's feelings, because that's the truth. But if it seems like every single interaction is about you, and it's at the detriment or the expense of someone else, then that is straight up selfishness. Go ahead.
In addition to at the detriment of someone else, to the exclusion of someone else. Because especially like you're in a relationship, it may not be hurting them, but you may be excluding them from the process because you're so focused on what you're trying to achieve and either get on the bus or don't, doesn't matter kind of situation, right? So that's kind of exclusion versus hurting them.
Well, I mean, ultimately that's called an inconsideration.
I mean,
so when you consider if you are considerate of the person, then more than likely it's not going to be a selfishness type situation. Now, this one, which is kind of hard to grasp, is self-interest. Defining that is benefit at the service of others. Wow. So self-interest is self-benefit at the service of others. I'll give you an example of that. So my self-interest, I consistently study all the time to grow in love, in life, in wisdom, to service you all, and to service my wife, and to service my children. It's not for my benefit. I benefit from it, and I benefit from loving myself, but it is so that it's better for those who are interact with me or encounter me. So it's not to manipulate anybody. It's literally to bless those who are in my my sphere of influence and those who I interact with. So everything about my growth and my quote unquote self-interest is also that I better serve those who I encounter. That's a very hard thing for people to receive, that whole word serving. But I'm sorry, that's what love is. But go ahead, sis. You're
So
pondering. You got.
I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on serving, right? And that to your point, because you said service, because we can do things that benefit. So, for example, if I'm studying to improve my skill set, to improve my profession, to bring more money in the house, so that my kids have more benefits and they can do more things. Can that be? Is that service, or can that be selfish, or is it in the middle?
Say again.
So if
Say again.
I'm working hard. I'm working hard. Put it this way: the philosophy of I come home every day and I pay all the bills, so I'm serving my family. But there's no connection and there's no nurturing. But I'm selfish. I think I'm being serving, but it's not coming across as serving.
Got it. But you still haven't really. So your question is it self-interest or is it serving? Because those are two. That's two different answers possibly. So are you serving or are you practicing self-interest? Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. All right. So self-interest is not necessarily doing something. Self-interest is consuming or growing growing as far as bettering yourself.
Investing.
So it's putting, there you go. That's perfect. It's investing in yourself. But the intent behind you investing in yourself is to better serve those who you are in close proximity to. Now, if we transition and you said, are you servicing your family by going to work? Yes and no. It kind of goes to the intent behind why you're doing what you're doing. Because if I go to work and I pay and I'm paying the bills and I consider that servicing my family, that could be selfish in itself, because you really could be paying the bills so that you're comfortable. One, two, that could be selfishness because you're doing it just so that you can say, I run this, I get the big piece of chicken, and you're throwing it in other people's face so that you can manipulate how you have your dynamic of your house going on. I know a lot of that goes on.
It's my experience.
Yeah, that's why I had to clarify what the actual question is before I answered it. So self-interest is basically investing in yourself, but the investment or the actual motive behind the investing in yourself is to definitely better yourself, but bettering yourself for the betterment of others by serving them. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Great question, by the way. But selfishness, on the other hand, might be investing in yourself, but all for selfish motives. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. So if you're an entrepreneur and I ask you, well, what's the point of your business? And you're like, well, to make money. Okay. Selfish. You're about getting your coins, and I'm pretty confident your service to the people that you're selling your product for does not make them feel like it's about them. So how the people receive it oftentimes make it clear as to whether you're servicing or it's selfishness or self-interest.
There are contextual clues about what your intent is by how it's being received. That in feedback.
Yep. So this is not going to be a long show at all, because all I'm going to do is go over 3 things to show the contrast between self-interest and selfishness. So I'll just talk about both and kind of give you a way to kind of think about, well, am I going about this from a selfish standpoint, or am I going about this from a self-interest standpoint? All right. So selfish people typically, this goes back to where I was kind of framing it earlier when I said putting in the work or whatever. So a selfish person typically is going to say, I wish it were easier. I wish this whole process was easier. And they get caught up in that. So clearly, like, no one really, I don't go looking for hardship. I'm not gonna sit here, you know, so let's be clear on that. But I don't look at a hardship and harp on how hard it is not moving forward to get past it. So a selfish or a person that practices selfishness, their mindset is, I wish it were easier. Now, a person with go ahead.
I is the important pronoun in that sentence. I wish it was.
Well, the I is going to be on both sides. So a person that practices self-interest says, I wish I were better. So the actual the selfish person says, I wish it were easier. The self-interest person says, I wish I were better. Now, that type of question forces the investing in yourself and putting in the work so that it will become easier. You follow what I'm saying? You see the difference? One person is a victim, is about me. If this was if we had this, if it was easier, I'll be able to have this, or we'd be in this predicament, or if she get her act together, then I'd be fine. If he gets his act together, I'll be fine. I wish this was easier. I wish this relationship was easier. Self-interest, I might need to get better at my communication skills. I wish I was better at like every time I try to explain something to him, he doesn't get it. Every time I try to explain something to her, she doesn't get it. I wish I was better at communicating. Okay, now we've identified what we need to work on. Now we've identified what we need to invest in to better, I guess, smooth things out when it comes to this difficulty that is definitely frustrating. You seem like you got a thought. you even nodded your head.
Right, so but it's the difference between blame and responsibility. And responsibility isn't saying fault. That's not the same thing. But when you're blaming, like you're all the scenarios you described, were more like it's outside of me, it's external. But when I take responsibility for my actions, like you said, my question is, how can I do better? Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe I could ask better questions. How can I reposition this? How can I grow from this? Which is different than, are you kidding me?
You're so dumb. You just don't get it, your stupid self. Oh, I've seen it. I've heard it. Like, yo. And you're like, I know you didn't just ask me that and just walk off. Like, wow, really? Really?
So true.
So yeah. Now, again, please don't miss the message. Clearly, there's times where you might need to look at your spouse. If you've had that invested time, and you'd be like, really? You're asking me that? And that helps them realize, like, you know what? I shouldn't have asked you that. But that comes from vested time where you've earned the right to say, really? You're questioning me doing whatever? Okay, that's fair. So before we go to the second one, again, it's not going to be long. This is just in your face truth. Like, we're going to define this whole self-interest thing, because we're not calling things or trying to justify selfishness. We're not doing that. That's not what the foundation of no love is. And as you stated, it robs you of taking a responsibility for your growth, which in turn takes you from the responsibility of your relationship experiences. All right, cool. So second the second thing, which is a person, is a thought process or a philosophy of a person. Selfishness, the person that is coming from a place of selfishness, their response will be, I wish for less problems.
Been there, done that.
I wish for less problems. Now a actual self-interest, a person with self-interest is going to say, I wish for more skills to solve problems. That's a different mindset. One thing my wife,
from experience, that mindset is less stressful.
It's so, yeah, it is.
Just choose to hold on. Let me pause and Let me go find some more skills because I got this. I just need some more information.
I wish for more skills to solve problems. People get so like people come to me and they are in panic mode, like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. Whether it be I'm mentoring or young man, let me tell you what my son did. Oh my gosh, I caught him doing this. Oh my goodness, or yo, I'm telling you, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. Let me tell you what happened between me and my wife or me and my husband. And I listen and they share, and I'm like, that's it? And they look at me like, wait, did you not hear what I just said? Did you not hear what I just said? And then, because I listened, because I have been in this for a long period of time where looking at things the way that you're looking at, which typically is from an emotional state and thinking that life is over, is devastating. Whereas I have been practicing on problem solving from I don't even know how long. I see opportunity in your situation. And then by the time we're finished conversing about the circumstance, they're like, wow, I never looked at it. I never thought about it that way. Now you see the opportunity. Exactly. Because you step back and you're like, but initially you're like, man, I wish I could just get rid of this problem. As opposed to, well, is this really a problem? Is this an opportunity? Is something that could come from this? A lot of people is going crazy about COVID. I'm sorry, y'all. I hate for anybody that takes this the wrong way. COVID has been a blessing for my family, myself, my business. It has been a blessing. And the reason why is because I didn't see COVID as a problem. I saw it as an opportunity. And I can assure you, whenever we go back, whether it be next month, 2 months, 3 months, my family and I are going to be so much further than had COVID never hit. But that's because I've seen or I'm looking at COVID as an opportunity, and I'm looking at it from a place of, for one, me gaining more skills to solve problems, as well as me building a business that is more prepared for devastation, issues, or what have you in the future. Whereas had I built it without COVID, a future COVID or something that has the symptoms of COVID would have probably just devastated whatever it is that I built. So
I agree. COVID has been good.
Selfish person, I wish for less problems. Self-interest person is I wish for more skills to solve problems, which in turn, again, causes you to start researching and self-investing, self-evolving to a place where when you're with somebody, I can assure you, my wife, she might be stressed for a moment, but by the time we're finished the conversation, she's looking like, yo, it's just something about you. That's what you just make me want to jump, like everything is fine. And that's the way it should be. Like, yo, let me snatch you from your anxiety or your thought process and let you see like what it is that you're missing. But again, that's because I'm consistently researching, investing in myself, and investing in wisdom, which my personal wisdom, I don't know what yours is the Bible. Everything that I teach from you all, I can assure you, if you inbox me ever, well, what scripture was that you came up with this topic? I promise you that I can point to the scripture that is validating my claims and what it is that I'm sharing. Or if you're ever listening, and I've had people that are listening from a spiritual mindset that inbox me their testimony or their thought process, and they name the scripture that it sounded like, and I'm like, that's exactly where I got that from. So thank you for validating that the message that I was trying to relay got through, and my agenda, for lack of a better term, is working, because I don't care who you are, whether you're a believer or not, I'm indirectly teaching you the gospel principles and gospel philosophies, and just the essence of the love of the God that I serve. I'm just not saying it in a scriptural manner. Neither did Jesus. The only time that Jesus ever spoke scripture was when he was in the actual synagogue talking about scripture. So let's go to, unless you have something that you want to add before we go to the third one.
I wanted you to go back to self-evolving. I think self-interest and self-evolving are similar, and I wanted you to explain a little bit more, because for me, I'm a self-development junkie, for lack of a better word.
Yes, you are. I agree. I
I
concur. Yes, you are.
get my hit periodically. Uh, get on my high from like, what am I learning today? But the side product benefit of that is much like working a muscle, right? Like, you don't realize how strong you are until you've been feeding yourself this kind of information, and then it comes out of your mouth or it comes out in your behavior. But self-interest and self-evolving, I believe what we're saying are synonymous to some degree.
That's a great question. They're not. But one actually contributes to the other. What I mean by that is, when you talk about self-interest, you're really being a student of self, which allows for you to identify your issues, which in turn allows you to know where you need to work on your self-evolution at. Whereas when you're talking about self-evolving, you wouldn't even know how to evolve unless you understand self. So you have to know where you are. It's like trying to get directions in the mall to go to a certain store. When you go to that map, it says you're here. So self-interest is your way of finding out where you are. So that's why I'm giving you these different concepts, so that you know, if you heard yourself say this, you might be coming from a place of selfishness. And if you are, use that as your guide to know what you need to be working on, and actually analyzing yourself so that you can better self-evolve. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. All right. So great question. Always wonderful questions. Now the last one, third and final one, if we were to call it selfishness versus self-interest, a selfish person will say, I wish for less challenge. And a self-interested person, or a person with self-interest, would say, I pray, or I wish for more wisdom. Just the fact that technically we're saying wish, it kind of relieves us of the whole, again, responsibility. It's a blame. To say I wish something, I wish for less challenge, says that it's not me. I have nothing to do with it. This is just the circumstance or situation that I'm in. And that's why I actually changed that to, I pray for more wisdom, because that is something that I consistently pray for. I'm always like, my prayers literally at minimal is, Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve my beautiful wife in the manner that you created me to serve her as her husband. Lord, please give me the wisdom and in a manner that pleases you. Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve my oldest son, Chris, in a manner that you created me to serve him as his son, as his father, and in a manner that pleases you. Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve my daughter, Naja, as her father, and in a manner that pleases you. Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve my son, Ezra, in a manner that you created me to serve him as his father, and in a manner that pleases you. Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve myself as a steward of the temple that you've given me, and in a manner that pleases you. And Lord, please give me the wisdom to serve your people in a manner that you've created me to serve them, and in a manner that pleases you. That is literally like probably the intro to my prayer every single night, to get the wisdom to serve you all, serve myself, and serve my family. And I carve it out and individualize every single thing. And I ask for the ability to see things past the surface of what they are. So prayerfully to see things from a spiritual aspect, which in turn allows for me to see past what it is that people are losing their minds about, and seeing the opportunity, or seeing where there could be a blessing in the particular situation that I'm in. So I don't have a problem with challenge. I receive challenge. I'm okay with challenge. And I typically find the blessing in challenge. And I see that finger because I read body language. So I want to know what that thought is. So please share so I can elaborate if I need to.
I wanted to pause there for a second, Because what I noticed is in an illustration of trying to make your point, you went through the prayer that you use every day, which actually is a paradigm for how we ought to give ourselves perspective, right? Like you started with service, right? How serve and your relationship to God, your relationship to others, and the particular sphere of influence that you've been given, right? That's your sphere of influence. So if we are trying to do the no love triangle, our intention is to express, be, show love to those people that we have connection to, that we've been given our sphere of influence to. So I just wanted to stop for a second and say the ability to stop to say the same thing every day is part of scripting yourself and preparing yourself. That's what prayer
Yeah.
is, right? So, but that's one of the tools that everybody should use. It doesn't have to be prayer; it could be affirmation, however.
Affirmations. Yeah. Yeah.
But the intentional effort to truly make a decision and set an intention is a part of how you are living.
Yeah.
It's it's
Certainly.
it's not something to gloss over. Is all I'm saying. I think that is a huge part of how you sustain, and I think that is something that it's easy to talk about what, but not how, and that's a how.
Got it. Got it. I appreciate you not allowing me to just brush over that like it's not important. It most certainly is. And if you want to go from a psychological or scientific standpoint, what that looks like or how that works, if you were to go buy a new car or buy new shoes and fall in love with that car, after you do so, you're going to see that car pretty much everywhere. Whereas you did not see that car or the shoes or whatever it is that you purchased anywhere probably prior to that moment. And I use that analogy to say this: if you are praying to see something, or if you are praying to do something, it is going to cause your mind to see what it is that you're praying. So in my consistency to ask for these things, my mind automatically sees these as opportunities when they present themselves. Whereas I would not have seen that prior to me praying for it or telling my subconscious to look for it. So that's from, if you don't want to, if you think that you're not a believer and you don't believe in spirituality or whatever, so I can talk to you from a philosophical standpoint. I can talk to you from a spiritual standpoint. I can talk to you wherever you need me to talk to. I can break it down to you so that you're able to receive it. But ultimately, that's all I'm doing, which allows for me to see what it is that I'm able to see, which a lot of people don't see because they're not looking for it. It's just training my mind's eye to see or appreciate opportunities that are given to me that align with what I feel my purpose is in God. That's it.
And we all have the same tool available to us.
Of course, it's your mind. Period. It is your mind. Hold on. I got a response. Let me make sure this hasn't dropped off. It says yes, and being specific in prayer is important to help you see. I agree with you 100%, Mike. Being specific in everything is important to help you see. I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Like you can get things that you pray for, but if you're not specific, you might not be too happy about what it is that you ask for. So if you're praying, oh Lord, please.
I just want a man, and then you get this dude, and you're like, that's not.
I want to. My prayer is I want to be in a room full of money. I want money to fall everywhere and be everywhere. And you pray that prayer every single day, and you end up being a bank teller. And you have to go into that room where the money is everywhere. You didn't specify that the money was yours or anything. If you're not descriptive, you might get exactly what you asked for. I actually had a woman who shared with me somebody. I'm always getting adopted as somebody's son, but someone who really considers me their son. She told me, and this always stuck with me. She said when she was pregnant with her second child, she would rub on her belly every single day and say, Lord, please give me a special child. Lord, I just want this child to be special. And the child was born autistic. She got a special child. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with him for having autism, but she did get what she prayed for, was what her conclusion was. And that always set with me about specifying what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you need, what it is that you want, or whatever, so that when you receive it, for one, you can identify it, you can appreciate it, and you know for sure that you spoke it into existence, which is what your God-given gift is. You were created in his image. Whether you believe it or not, whether you're a believer or not, that can't be taken away from you. Unfortunately, what we're speaking to existence just does not align with what we want, and we don't realize the power of our words and the power of our thoughts, which is why I'm so protective of my subconscious mind, which is why I won't watch what it is that so many people watch, because I might grow to desire those things or think that those things are okay. So it's
all of us, though, I think if we all took inventory of our lives, we would see the correlation between the things that come out of our mouth and the experience that we're having. Maybe you just haven't taken time to take stock in it, but what you think about, you be about. So
exactly.
Just stop for a second and took some inventory and like, how did I get here? Yeah, because you somewhere along the line you keep saying something like it doesn't matter. Yeah, now all of a sudden you're mad. Well, because you said it doesn't matter.
You're right about that.
I mean, I live.
But honestly, that's it. I don't even know what time it is. But I have nothing else on this topic. How long we been going?
It's
only been 48 minutes. We concluded the last show. We did this whole show, and we're concluding this whole show. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to share or say?
No, I'm always trying to come out with, and I believe that we can. He's just like, yes, we can. Like, but I did want to take a full stop on the fact that the underlying tool that you use consistently is the time that you spend in prayer and meditation, which for a lot of people looks a lot of different ways, right? So there's affirmation, there's reading. And for me, like, I am a self-development junkie. And yes, I do meditate in the morning and take walks and think and journal and write and all that other kind of stuff. But that's my tool for doing the same thing, which is crafting a reality that being actively participating in the life that I'm living, not just a passenger in the car, letting it just ride by. And I have been in that space where, well, it's just life is happening to me. Well, it really isn't when you start to think about how your words impact your life. And I tell my kids all the time, if everything that you really wanted, you have. It's just not, it's transitioning to the areas that you're fearful about and giving it the same energy.
Yeah.
And changing that. And fear tends to paralyze us. But so my final word is, let this be an opportunity as you start to become self-aware to love yourself and be intentional about what you're saying, to bring more love, right? Bring more. Like if you have a little bit, bring more in. Because you can never have enough.
Most certain. I agree. As we stated earlier, like, there's depths to this thing. We can go forever. We cannot ever not have a topic. I can do this all day. When I wrote my first book, I literally said, like, what can I talk about in nonstop and forever? And I was like, relationships, love. And it was a no-brainer. And I can do this all day. All we're doing literally, and I shared that since day one, we're taking just those three triangles, those three sides of the triangle, and we're just going more in depth. Why are we doing it that way? Because you're not going to receive it the first time. You're not going to consume it the first time. I highly recommend you all revisiting the previous shows so that you can see your growth. A lot of you all don't even realize how much you've grown. But if you start listening to the old shows, you'll start seeing how you can finish sentences, or you'll know where I'm going. And the only reason why that is because you have been going on this journey with us. So your philosophies and thought processes are actually changing. So I'm proud of you all. And I appreciate you all and your minds and time. Oh, speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out the bag. I'm looking for some Android users to inbox me. I'm looking for testers We are probably about 2.5 weeks from the actual No Love app actually launching. It's 3D, just like the exact board game experience. And if you inbox me as an Android user, your actual email address that is associated with your Google Play Store, I will send you a link after I add that email as a person that has access to it so that you can actually test for me, because I have been looking at this, me and the developer, for the last 2 months. So we're bound to have missed something, whether it be two cards content in one card, or a misspelling, or a card that says you're supposed to do this, but it doesn't. There's like 200 some odd scenarios on top of hundreds of landing spaces. We are human and we're bound to have missed something. We've been too involved with it. So we need new and fresh eyes. iOS people, don't think that I've forgotten about you. We've already submitted the actual app for iOS. It just their process is a little more stricter, and before they allow for us to actually say that they're going to accept the app, but we're getting there. And when I get that, I'll be asking for you all. I forgot, it's some kind of ID that y'all have. Y'all. I'm not even gonna say. I would say bougie, but y'all high maintenance. So I might need y'all's whatever long behind code sooner or later, so that I can ask you all to be testers for me. But I am excited. I already have a few people that have been playing it and giving me feedback on how it is just forcing them to be introspective. It is frustrating at times, which so are relationships, which means I did this right. But please inbox me your email address that's associated with your Google Play Store. If you are listening through audio, through a podcast, my email address is Edward, EDWARD, L, that's L as in Lima or Lion, Fairly, that's F as in Frank, A as in Alpha, I as in India, R as in Romeo, L as in Lima, E as in Echo, Y, at, the at symbol, like at Gmail, at Yahoo, noloveinc.com. So it's Edward L. Fairley at NoLove, KNOWLOVEINC.com. Send me your inbox there, and I will send you the link. That would be a great way for you and I, if I never met you all, because you don't listen via the live, for us to start interacting. And I'll make sure that you all get all the updates and stuff on what's going on with No Love, the app and everything. The simulation is so awesome. I want y'all to see the furniture and everything. We literally place every piece of furniture, from the actual pictures on the wall and everything. When you win, we have licensed music and everything. It's awesome. The simulation is great. So I'm excited. Hope you all are excited. But that's the kind of work that we're talking about. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's frustrating. Like, we wanted to cheat the game just to test the game, because we're like, we want to see if the winning slot does what it's supposed to do. But we had to go through the whole game to get to it was like, it's got to be a way we could cheat so we can just see what we're trying to see if we fixed it. No, we just were getting divorced, cheated on, getting all the way to marriage, and we did something stupid, which led us right back to single. And we're like, you got to be kidding me. It took me 30 minutes to get here. So now I got to go through the whole yes, you have to go through the whole process over to try to win.
Learn in a safe environment. So
oh yeah. You're learning on your own. You don't have anybody to judge you. If you want, you literally can set up groups. I'm excited. I'm gonna just give y'all everything. Like, you can literally set up group meetings, like say, hey, it's 4 people that can play together. Meet me at this actual place. You can put a password in it so that if other people who are on the network just try to jump into your game, they can't do that. So you can be like, hey, meet me at the No Love Roundtable. You name it, and you tell people where to meet you at when they go and sign on. Let them know it's a 4-player game or 3-player game or 2-player game, and y'all meet and y'all just start. So I'm excited. I hope you all are excited. I've been working on this baby for probably 5 years. I've had about 7 miscarriages. for lack of a better term. And I'm excited that this baby is about to be born. Tila J is one of the people that have been testing for me. And she said, "Don't get me started," and put laugh out loud emoji. So that's it. Rolling on the floor laughing. But that's it. That's all I got. I absolutely love you all. If you all can't tell that by my just trying to pour into you and my passion, you're probably numb. But it's fine. I'm gonna just continue to love on you until you realize that I love you, so that you can
So you can know love.
know love for yourself. Yeah. So I will carry the baton of love until you take it from me and love yourself. So just keep being consistent, keep coming, and I'm gonna keep running with this thing called love until you can take it and bring it on home yourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all's patience. I know we have bye weeks, but you all are consistent in your growth and share. And please share. Speaking of sharing, share. Don't keep this to yourself. It can't spread. Love can't spread. We talk about this world that's divided in this hate. If we're consuming love collectively and we're not sharing it, no wonder it's not going to be spreading. So if you find that this information is great for you, share with other people. Let them know about it, and we'll grow together. All right. Love y'all. Till we meet again. Peace.